Safety and security are two important aspects when browsing the web. Now, that should be obvious, but sometimes it needs to be said out loud for some folks. The amount of surveillance, limitation, and data mining done on your personal information on a daily basis is upsetting, and most of the time, you're not even aware of it happening, and finding the right solution is not always obvious. That is, unless you use Surfshark VPN and its easy one-for-all solution. With a click of a button, no matter if you're on Windows, Android, or Apple products, Surfshark turns you into an anonymous and hard-to-track user, giving you more freedom on the internet, keeps you away from prying eyes, and prevents companies from doing very dumb things like geo-blocking. You ever had something like YouTube or a streaming service limit your viewing options simply because you were in another country? The audacity. Surfshark makes that a non-issue. Start their service, choose your location, refresh the page, and bam, you're watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on Netflix. My go-to example when mentioning geo-blocking, because why the hell is that not already available in the United States? Those that use the link in the description below and enter the special code Johnny will not only get 83% off their initial order, but the next 3 months are also completely free. Pretty damn solid deal. Thanks to Surfshark VPN for the sponsor, and now on with the show. Alright, so this is another one of those reactive reviews, much like Untitled Goose Game, Fall Guys, Five Nights at Freddy's. I hear about this game a lot, and I just buckle in and try and see what all the hubbub is about. And this time that game is Among Us. When I started seeing glimmers of this about a month ago, I want to say, I thought it was just sci-fi fan art of Fall Guys. I think a lot of people thought it was Fall Guys related at first, but it ended up being a completely different game that, thanks to the sudden recognition it experienced because of high-profile Twitch streamers and YouTubers, it took off and became a humongous hit, so this is like a positive version of getting caught in the crossfire. So okay, I'm hearing about this game, I figured, okay, I'll probably do a spotlight on it, give it some coverage. But then I thought, well wait, if I gave Untitled Goose Game a review, if I gave Fall Guys a review, the same should be given for Among Us. Although I do want to take this time to thank you guys for the positive reception for my new format of Spotlight as of late. I finally found something that works, and I'm more than happy to take the feedback to heart and produce some extra content that I can crank out when I don't have the time for a standard versus video on a particular subject. So thank you, I truly mean that. Alright, then let's talk about Among Us, these bottom halves of Teletubbies. Hey, if I was forced to notice that, you will be too. While I was doing research for this, I learned to my utter shock that this game is over 2 years old. And in this sort of media climate, in a world past Minecraft, Roblox, Five Nights at Freddy's, how does a game that exploded in the recent months only now just get noticed 2 years after release? I guess if indie creators are to take something from this, it's, well, sometimes success is not always immediate. It's like a budding fruit tree or a new channel with nothing but clickbait titles and thumbnails, compared to something, kind of lost where I was going with this. But yes, Among Us is an indie endeavor by Inner Sloth, consisting of Marcus Bromander, Forrest Willard, and Amy Liu, and this is their third game to boot. They also created Dig to China and the Henry Stickmin collection. I'm curious to see if those games saw higher numbers due to the surging popularity of Among Us. They may have canceled Among Us 2 to focus on refining the original game, but I still have hope for Dig 3 China. I don't know if Among Us is supposed to have a story, or maybe it's one of those games where the lore is told through gameplay and background elements. I couldn't say for sure, but ultimately, it doesn't really matter for this game, which I'll explain in a minute here. You got 3 stages to pick from: the spaceship called the Skeld, this building called Mira HQ, and this lava base called Polis. Different layouts, but nothing that I would think offer a drastically different experience given the simple gameplay Among Us offers on the surface. You and up to 9 other players join a session, and as these cute little astronauts that pack heat or might be the offspring of the Thing, it's your job to complete the tasks given to you. You open up the map, you head to where there's yellow exclamation points, and you get to work. Tasks take the form of these super short mini-games that could be as simple as pushing buttons in a specific sequence, watching files upload and download, which is a YouTuber fills me with a sort of existential dread, I don't know why. You can dump leaves into space, it's quick and efficient, or you can swipe this card on this slot for verification that you either get on your first try or 12th. God, this one sucks. If you keep getting this right on your first try, you should be a fucking surgeon with those precise muscle controls, Jesus Christ. If every member of the crew manages to complete their tasks given, indicated by this green bar on the top left of the screen, you win the game. Simple as that. Except it's not, for you see, among the crew are imposters, folks that only pretend they're crewmates, and their job is to kill everyone else without blowing their cover. You can pretend that you're doing tasks to help blend in, but make no mistake, that right there is the face of a killer.
Imposters can sneak into vents and fast travel to other parts of the map, and they can sabotage equipment that cause things to malfunction, like causing power outages, limiting the other player's vision and hiding their movements. They can jam shutter doors, giving their next victim nowhere to run or hide, or they can do something like tamper with the oxygen meter, forcing other crewmates to prioritize fixing that, or everyone immediately dies. And maybe while they're distracted, they can keep playing the mind games, or they can go in for the kill. All it takes is a simple push of a button, and that unfortunate victim is either shot down or... I actually don't know how many death animations are there. I only recall the gun and the stomach mouth. Either way, all that's left is a pair of legs and a humongous bone. What are the anatomies for these dudes? Art style kind of reminds me of a Newgrounds game circa 2005 and around that era. But just because you might suffer a grim fate as a crewmate, your ghost is still capable of doing tasks. They can even go through walls for faster access.
Sentenced to work even in the afterlife. There's commentary somewhere in there, but I'm not clever enough to identify what that is.
But yes, that's the whole game fundamentally. Crewmates try to complete the tasks given, while imposters try to kill the crewmates. It's a race to see who can get the job finished first. Before each game begins, roles are given out at random, so while you might be getting scanned at MedLab as a crewmate in one session, you might find yourself as a doped up killer on 3 different kinds of steroids during the next session.
However, it is not the simple gameplay that's the alluring part of Among Us. It's the conversation.
Whenever an imposter kills someone, the victim's body is left on the ground for everyone else to eventually find. Or maybe they won't see it. I managed to kill my buddy Linky in front of my friend Ryan, and that motherfucker didn't even bat an eye. That card swipe game is a real son of a bitch. Anyway, when a body is found, it could be reported. And this is where Among Us becomes an entirely different game. You see, Among Us has some ground rules going in. If you're playing this game, particularly in a Discord call or Skype or maybe TeamSpeak, I don't fucking know, players are not allowed to communicate with each other when in the middle of a game. Dead players can also not communicate at all with live players, otherwise games will be very short if you catch my drift. You get a session going, the game starts, and everyone mutes their mics and deafens their headphones so that they can't talk or hear anything except the game itself. But then, when a body is found and reported, or when an emergency meeting is called, the comm lines are open and it's time to discuss what everyone was doing or who might be a potential imposter. If enough votes are gathered, a selected player can be jettisoned into the empty reaches of space to die a horrible death if others believe that they might be an imposter. The thing is, the only person who knows that they're the imposter is the imposter. So whenever a meeting is called, for whatever reason, it's time to put on that politician hat because it's time to bullshit. Creating a fake alibi, potentially framing an innocent crewmate for something you did, throwing your imposter buddy under the bus to save your own ass. This is where your gift of the gab, if you even have it at all, is truly tested. Because if you weren't exactly mindful of your movements, where you've been, where you haven't been, or maybe you didn't consider the cameras in the hallway, which other crewmates can use to keep an eye on certain rooms, you have to do everything in your power to convince the others that you are innocent and that the imposter is someone else. But as crewmates, I mean, tasks are the most important thing, but it's also up to you to keep the others in check whenever you happen to see them. You notice someone running in the opposite direction of a corpse that wasn't reported, or you see someone standing around for so long not doing a goddamn thing, or maybe you get lucky and you just happen to catch the imposter in the act of killing someone or using a vent, something only imposters can do. If any of that's the case, it's your job to haul ass to that emergency meeting button and put that fucker on blast. But if that imposter is good at cooking up a story, they might try and turn it around and make you seem suspicious.
Alright, that's 3 pages into this review where I wrote down the word suspicious. And no, I'm not using sus as shorthand. I like to say the whole word, thank you very much. God, I hate fun.
This is the real meat of Among Us. It's not shooting asteroids or connecting broken wires or going into your wallet and punching in the right codes. Even when you're a ghost, why is the wallet dead? No, it's either figuring out who the imposter is as a crewmate or trying to cover your tracks as the imposter. And it is amazingly intense because as a crewmate, you haven't the foggiest fucking clue when the imposter will strike or when you might find a body, or which among you as you play the game is actually the killer. Do you risk tailing this person you might think is the culprit only to make yourself seem suspect? Or do you dare carry on waiting for those files to download or swipe that godforsaken card again? As the imposter, you are meticulously planning each step along the way, memorizing the map to come up with a convincing story when you're put on the spot, trying to use ventilation shafts without anyone seeing you, making sure you keep away from cameras if someone's currently watching them. And then it all comes to a head when it's time for a discussion and trying to put the pieces together. It's hard to put into words because it's like trying to describe my experiences with a tabletop game or a board game in general. That's the kind of atmosphere this game invokes. And yeah, with that said, Among Us is best enjoyed with a circle of friends. With the few sessions I recorded for this video, I learned who among my group of friends was pretty damn good at putting 2 and 2 together like a damn detective, or those that are really good in keeping the conversation going spewing bullshit, and those that are not very good at it.
Can I just say I suck at being the imposter? Well, don't get me wrong, I love creeping up on people and delivering the fatal blow. I love sneaking around, using vents, planning my next move, and trying to blend in with the crowd. It's like a stealth game, and I do love me a good stealth game. But when it's time to explain what I've been doing and I'm blanking on a certain detail, my nerves are shot and I fall apart so fucking fast. If no one's asking me a question directly, I tend to keep it quiet and let others do the talking for me, which can work, and it has worked for me before, but most of the time, it's a one-way ticket to the lava pool. Folks are usually smarter than that. Usually.
Not that being a crewmate is less interesting. No, it's less nerve-wracking for starters. I mean, you hope you don't die, but heading to the next task and completing minigames can be pretty relaxing. And again, just because you die doesn't mean you still can't fight the good fight, so get your ass back to work, Casper. Those energy drinks aren't going to drink themselves. I think it all depends on the type of person you are, the kind of games you like. I know folks who swear by the imposter role, and folks who want nothing to do with that, and rather just swipe the card again. But to repeat, that's all just the foundation. The conversation is the real fun. I didn't bother trying this game with randoms for the record. There is a text chat you can use to communicate with others that aren't in a Discord call, dead or alive, but it didn't have the same feel to it as a dedicated voice call. I knew heading into this game, if I was going to play it, it had to be with friends and mutual, so that's what I did. Yes, my perspective is a little limited in that regard for this review, but it's just one of those things I feel is a given. Among Us needs to be played with friends, no different than how you play Monopoly, or Risk, or Scrabble, or all those other games with other people. And in this case, it can be played for dirt cheap, it's only $5. There's additional costumes and minions you can purchase for a couple of bucks if that suits your fancy. I didn't bother investing in any of them, though I didn't stop Linky or Nathan from wearing bananas on their heads. The hat and gray suit were enough for me. I can't say for sure how much more Among Us there'll be in my future. It's still a widely played game in not only my circle of friends and community, but a whole bunch of folks are all over it. Again, Innersloth canceled development of the sequel to make the original game better given its surge in popularity. And while that just might extend its shelf life tenfold, but I personally don't see myself playing this game a whole bunch as we go into the next year. It's a highly requested game in my Twitch circle, but that's sort of tricky to do as you're broadcasting your point of view and making your role obvious. It's probably something I should do in like closed sessions. But hey man, if all I had were the sessions with my buds, it was time well spent, and if my friends and family ever ask me to join another session, I think I can make some time, and I think you should too.
I don't normally end my videos like this, but just to give you guys an idea of how a game usually goes, in case you haven't already seen a million of them on this platform or other venues, here's just a few examples of what I experienced while recording footage for this review. I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, thank you all for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask if you decide to go outside. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.
Okay, Smithy's is doing that.
Yeah! So Ted's dead in the middle of the hallway.
I was gonna say I don't think it's Linky because
Which hallway?
he was doing his ass.
Well,
Yeah, now he's dead. I saw him.
So again, which hallway?
Which hallway?
The hallway near the engine room on the left.
That's so
Going up.
Cafeteria.
What are you talking about?
What was the body found?
Travis' body was right by the report button. I was doing the electrical wires. As soon as I came down, I saw Blue kill Red.
They did it. What the fuck are you talking about? You're the one who killed him.
It was Matt.
No, it wasn't.
Jesus Christ, Matt, your line is fucking awful.
Yeah, it's John.
What was that noise? Anybody going
Ryan,
south?
I accidentally voted Matt, so please vote for Ryan. I created.
Wait, what?
Alright, vote for Matt.
No,
Why are you gonna vote for me?
No, do not vote Matt.
Why are you voting for me, dickhead?
We did something too.
No, I did not do.
Where's Matt? Where's Matt? I'll try and distract him.
What did you
My
do?
tasks are done.
Oh yeah, Ghost can't say the location of other players.
You gotta distract them, Matt. Avatar is an overrated piece of shit of a show.
I'll fucking kill your mother.
Oh no, that only made him angrier.
Come on!
Linky, is everything okay? I'm downloading files. I can't say anything.
Oh,
he's dead!
Just like last time.
God, you piece of shit!